if you need new business envelopes and you're designing a business envelope, stop! Because there's some things you got to think about, okay?
Definitely.
And Michael, what are those things? This guy kind of knows a little bit about printing and meeting specs and meeting legalities and all that, right?
Yes.
So what do you have to think about when you're printing a business envelope?
First of all, the most important thing I would think about would be is, what are you doing with this envelope? What needs to fit inside there? You know, your standard number 10 envelope is 4.125 or 4 1/8 by 9.5 inches. You know, it fits a really nice for a trifold letter, which is usually what's going in there, or some kind of bill that's going in there, or sending out the 3-part checks. So that's one thing to think about, is what size you want. There's all the announcements envelopes, your A2s, A5, A6s, A7s. But also, you don't want to design an envelope that's not to some of these specs. It's a lot cheaper, especially if you're doing a smaller quantity, to know the size of the envelope and design from there. Also, you need to know that just because whatever you're putting in there, you better design so it fits in there. I mean, I've seen that before where it's
Really?
like, yeah, where they've sent the piece and they've sent the envelope, and we've gave them a quote on an A7, which is 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. And then when the piece folded down, it was 5 1/2, 8 1/2.
Oops, well.
That's not gonna fit. So we had to go back, say, hey, you're gonna have to rework this. This isn't gonna fit in there. So, you know, size is first and foremost the most important. Second of all, I would think about colors. Back in the day, we used to have the AB Dick 2 color, and you'd print 2 colors on your envelope, and that's your only option. Now we have digital envelope printers, so we can print full color. We can print, you know, different things on every single envelope. We can do the variable on there. But a lot of those then have different parameters where you have to still be 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch away from the side. That you can't print all the way to the side. Some of them you can. If you want an envelope that has printing over the whole thing, well, that's another thing that we can do. It's just most of the time with envelopes like that, you're going to have to print on a flat sheet, and then we're going to send it out to have it converted. And there's a lot more costs involved there. Well, I would say there's a lot more costs involved there if it's a smaller quantity. If it's a larger quantity, do whatever envelope you want to whatever size you want to.
Well, and what kind of a quantity?
Figure out all the rest.
When you talk about quantity, like where does it not really matter?
Let's say like 25,000.
Okay, 25,000.
That if you're doing that many, then you can look into getting fancy with it, because then for us printing, it's just the same thing. It's just the price of converting. Then that's an obstacle. But you know, envelopes are pretty expensive as they are already made up. But for smaller runs, you definitely would not want to add the converting costs in there. So that's another thing. You know, also, if you're doing design of an envelope that's going to go in the post office, or that needs all the stuff on there for a reply mail, then you need to know and have your barcode at the bottom exactly 1/4 inch up, and make sure it starts in the one spot, and have all the stuff on there right, so when the post office puts it through its machines, it will read properly, and that you don't have any other type for an address in the middle of the OCR read area, because if you do that, that could screw it up as well. And just a lot of things you need to think about there. Also, paper stock. You know, there's a lot of different weights of envelopes, and if you are using like a 28 pound, which is a thicker kind of like 70 pound type stock, that's nice, but it might be overkill if you don't care and you don't have any important stuff that's inside there. Another thing, window tint inside.
Or
the security tint, should I say, or if you need windows on there, or where the window needs to go.
So there's a lot to think about with that.
There's a lot of things to think about. So, or remit envelope, and where the art needs to fall on there, so that when you close it, that the glue isn't going on to the parts where people are writing onto. And, you know, if you have any questions about this, obviously, please contact us at Footprinting. We can send you any of the die lines for them. We can send you, like, you know, 6 3/4 remit envelope is one that we do a lot, or the 9 remit envelopes. We can send you a little mock-up that shows you where not to put stuff so that you can design it properly. Or just throw it together and send it to us, and we'll finish it up real quick, throwing the design on there to make sure that...
That's right. You guys do design too, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we can help with that too.
Envelopes, business, they're pretty important. Business envelopes are pretty important. So make sure you get somebody good working on it and keeping an eye on it. And that would be Footprinting, I think.
Yep.
All right.
Foot printing.